So welcome back everybody. In this episode we're going to be forging and making a specialty tool that I need for our huge outdoor fire pit and cooker. If you watched this video a while back, this is a big wood-fired oven. We've been cooking pizzas on it, meats, everything else, and then we have an open large fire pit where we can cook over cast iron or just have a big fire pit itself. By the way, this top is removable, so we can have a 9-foot long pit this winter if we want to cook over it. Problem is, well, I have nothing to conveniently remove all the ash in here that goes way up in there. And occasionally I need to scoop this out, make that happen. So that's what we're doing today, custom building and forging our own ash and coal shovel. Stay tuned, let's get started. Alright, so as you can see, I just put me a little circle handle on the end. That's very important when you've got something you don't want spinning in your hands. Because when you put your back hand on that circle right there, it's better than just grabbing a single piece of pipe or rebar or steel that'll want to move around in your hands. That circle in my hand kind of gives me something to grab a hold of. It's a little decorative piece and allows me to hang this up should I want to do it as well. Now on the other end of this rebar, I'm heating it up. We got to pound it flat and put a slight pitch to it. The reason I want it nice and flat and cupped out is because it's going to lay against the bottom of the shovel head, which we've still got to build, and then I'm going to weld around that. That's better than just an ugly piece of rebar on the bottom. plus with the steel being pounded flat as I'm shoveling in and scraping, I don't have a big old piece of rebar sticking out on the bottom to catch on other things. I want it nice and flat and kind of contoured, and I want the shovel head at a slight angle. I don't want everything straight in line because I'm going to be coming down shoveling at probably a 20 or 30 degree angle anyways, so the shovel head needs to match that. All right, this is pretty red hot. Let's see if we can pound it. I've got to make sure I flatten it in line with this handle. So take a quick look at that right there. Alright, so you can kind of see what we're going for here. I want to get it quite a bit flatter than that. See how it's pitched up as well. Now just imagine my shovel head's going to be on this, welded to the bottom. That's why I want that angle and this flat area. So let's get it hot. I want to get it half again that flat. Got to get it straightened up too. If I start using this forge much and pounding metal out like this, I'm gonna go ahead and invest in me a full leather apron. Even though it's 100 degrees in the shop right now and I'm miserable hot, I can see me pounding on the steel eventually, some embers coming out, getting in my shoes or burning my legs. So yeah, I'm taking a little bit of a risk right now. Definitely going to want more of an angle than that, which I can always bend that out by hand later. I don't have to be heated up to do that. We'll get our final bend once we build our shovel head. I'm going to pound this flat just a little more and call it good. That's already a pretty good area I can weld to. So I'll be the first to admit this sheet metal is a bit thin for a shovel, but again, we're just raking coals out. We're not digging in dirt or putting our force on this. But this is the thickest steel that I can actually work in my roller, bender, and shear brake right here. So that's kind of important to me because I don't want a flat shovel. I have a concave design fire pit, and I want to roll this steel and kind of match that concave shape. So whenever I'm shoveling up the ash, this is going along the bottom and touching multiple surface areas instead of a single point like a flat shovel would, and it would just leave ash all in the bottom. You can't go put it in a flat shovel in something that's curved like this, or you leave that gap underneath. In the future, I'm probably going to get a press brake for the shop so I can work with thicker steel and actually put some bends in it. Alright, so you can see some of these cut edges are not clean. This is where I think I cut it with an angle grinder a while back. Some of them aren't perfectly straight. So I have a shear in this right here, We're actually going to shear this off. Alright, as you can see, now we're left with a beautiful clean cut edge. And something else I want to do, not only do I want to roll this, which we're about to try to get, you know, a shape to match my fire pit bottom, but I want to roll a 1-inch lip up on the edges, and I want to cover the back. I can't stand shovels that have no edge lip, especially for getting something like ash. So when you scoop it up, well, it just rolls off the edge. At least if I have some sort of lip there, maybe no more than 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch, it'll hold the ash in from falling off this shovel. So let's use these top rollers right here, which we can space in and out to put more pressure on this, cause more curl and bend in this. They're a bit tight right now, it looks like. And we're gonna have to walk back and forth to the fire pit until we get the shape that I'm looking for. Oh no, that's way too much. That's going to be a bit much as well, but we can bend this out by hand some. All right, so let's straighten that back out. Let's go out to the fire pit and let's shape that to the fire pit itself. This is why we're making a custom shovel. It's unique to my fire pit and my fire pit only. All right, so if we take a look down in here, yeah, we definitely got to straighten this back out some. That looks pretty good. It's not matching it perfectly, and I don't want it to. I just want enough of this bottom several inches to fit. Yeah, that matches up good. I've got 4 or 5 inches of this that matches up the bottom. So when I scoop all the way in there, I'm not leaving a stream of ash down here in the bottom. All right, so I got my shovel done, and while this isn't a necessary step, I go through all the trouble of building this, I want to make it look good. So you can see I got all the grind marks on here, all the discoloration from welding and heat. On this side, some of the weld came through, so I had to grind it down. It just doesn't look very good. So what I'm gonna do is take a propane torch, heat this metal, and try to get this dark bluing effect. Then I'm gonna coat it with some canola oil, which also will help preserve this, keep it from rusting as bad, although that's gonna happen, but it adds a dark color to it as well whenever the oil burns. And we'll do this all the way up the handle, and then I'll wipe it down, because we don't want a whole lot of oil on our hands up there, but I don't mind it staying right here on this particular piece. Tell you what, it's crazy windy. This little torch is gonna take a while. Let me go get my jumbo torch. I'll be right back. All right, take a look at the size of this torch right here. Look at there, we're already changing the color. Check out how awesome that looks. We'll burn some oil on it in just a second to really change the color. All right, while that's blazing hot and way hotter than oil needs to be, especially cooking oil, let's put some of this on there. Look at there. You ever seen burnt oil in a pan at the house? How it burns on kind of brown and hardens up. That's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna light this torch back up and actually burn this oil, harden it on there. Starting to smoke, so we're reaching the flash point of the oil. See it starting to discolor and turn brown. You can actually do this several times to get a good coating on there. Now we're starting to get a really dark color on there. I love it. Check that out. We're getting almost a jet black color, just what I was going for. That hides all the blemishes, makes everything look really good. And the good news is, in the future, all I gotta do is spray this with a little oil and stick it in a coal bed. It'll protect it, and it keeps the color looking awesome. Oh yeah, I'm digging that color. All right, now time to heat up everything else. Oh, it's too hot for this. All right, so we're gonna let this cool down for a little while. See the smoke coming off everything. As it cools down, it'll absorb any remaining oils. This helps make it rust-free for a while. I have to occasionally coat my equipment like this every so often because I tend to use it and leave it outside. But I love this kind of aged look it gives, especially when you cook oil on it like that. Plus, you kind of change the temper of the metal with all this heat. We just went from shiny, not very good looking stuff to something that looks rustic and like it's been used out here forever. All right, so now the real test. How well does this work? Did I get the length right so I can get all the way up underneath that grate and get the coals? Because this is something occasionally I have to do. We can't just leave the coals in there forever. So I'm just gonna take a bucket, stick it down here, put it over there. Let's go ahead and start trying this out. So far, so good. Looks like I got the width just right for the bucket too. If I'd have went any wider, have been a little bit of a problem. It's actually working out fantastic. Getting nice big shovelfuls. Nothing's falling off the sides or back, because I made for sure that I put those little lips on there to take care of that problem. And I'm not trying to get this spotless, but occasionally we're going to need to clean this out, especially that white ash, so it doesn't blow up on our meat in our cook. Awesome. This is the perfect length. I can get all the way to the back side. Still have room to spare. The little loop on the back is perfect to grab. That keeps my, keeps it from wanting to roll over on me. I've got control there. Now, because you got oil on this, you're thinking everything's going to stick to it. If I burnt the oil on correctly and basically gave it a hard coat, this should rinse right off and not have everything stuck to it. So let's test that out. Oh yeah, backside cleaned up perfect. There you go. That's what you get when you cook on oil like that. Gives it a really hard surface finish, almost kind of like you have in a cast iron pan or on a griddle. All right, so yet another tool to put out here in our outdoor shed. It's where we keep all of our cooking appliances and things such as this. This is where we have things like these tongs that I handmade right here for flipping logs. This is actually for a medium-sized fire pit. So something I need to build out here in the future is maybe a rack along the back wall with some pegs that I can start hanging all these useful tools up for. All right, y'all, hopefully you enjoyed it. I love building things like this. What a fun little episode right there. Something I absolutely needed. We already use this a lot for cooking. We're gonna use it big time in the fall and winter for fire pits and get-togethers. Plus, I have a lot more cool attachments coming for this we're gonna be building soon. I'm talking some really cool attachments. We're gonna make this so multifunction and so useful. You just trust me, you don't wanna miss it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.